Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Vishnu in the morning and Shiva in the evening. To pay obeisance to Shiva and Vishnu, there is an age old traditional rule to conduct one's worldly affairs fairly and properly. We should pray to Vishnu, who manages the world, to turn your mind away from the worldly affairs and focus it inwardly. You should pray to the Samhara Murti Shiva. Accordingly, Mahavishnu excels as the emperor of the universe and Parmeshwara is the pauper king. Let us take stock of their possessions. Shiva has odds and sorts of items that no one cares for, such as ashes, skin of the elephant, erukkan poo, tumbai poo, oomattai, skull bone and snake to decorate him. They are all priceless because nobody would buy them. Mahavishnu wears golden crown inlaid with priceless gems, pearl necklaces, diamond earrings, yellow silken clothes, garland with kaustubha money. They are all priceless because nobody could afford them. Above all, Mahavishnu has as his wife the goddess of all wealth and affluence, Mahalakshmi. Paramashiva has the leafless Aparna as his consort. She is the one who fasted, abnegating even dry leaves to seek his favor. From this, it is clear that we should pray to Vishnu for worldly benefits and to Shiva for dispassion. It does not mean the opposite, however, that Vishnu cannot give us jnanam or that Shiva cannot bless us with worldly riches. The difference in approach is for the clarity of our understanding. On this basis, every day morning, as we get up from the bed, we should spend a few minutes chanting Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana. In the evening, we should chant Shiva Shiva, a very easy method of great value that is a must for all people of all ages. In the morning, the world retrieves itself from sleep and wakes up. The sun rises with an ever expanding brilliance. Everybody, from the ants, birds, animals, and human beings, get involved in their activities. So, in the cool mornings, we should chant the names of Mahavishnu, who is of the color of clouds pregnant with water, ready to shower its blessings. In the evening, everybody returns home after the day's work is over. The cattle get back to their sheds, the birds are back in their nests, the sun is also settling down in the western horizon. As the world tucks in for a much needed rest, it is time to think of Shiva, who gives the peace of jnana. The microcosm and macrocosm are basically of the same structure and material ingredients. So, also, there is an inviolable connection between the inner and outer world. In the time before the sunrise, as the birds start chirping with a clear intention that the whole world should be happy, it is easy to think of Mahavishnu. Similarly, as the world closes shop and darkness encloses the hemisphere, we should also be pulling back our senses in the inner peace and sit down to meditate on Shiva. Though we may think of God as Vishnu in the morning and Shiva in the evening, thus we should never forsake the conviction that they are one and the same. We sleep in the night dress. We do our prayers in a different get-up. We go about our business wearing a suit and a coat. For various actions and jobs, we have a different rig. But inwardly, the person is one. Swami is also one only. Places indicating Shiva Vishnu integrity clearly. There are many places where the oneness of Shiva and Vishnu is clearly indicated. In Tirunelveli, there is Shankar Narayanar Kovil. Further west, there is Harihara Kshetra, where Hari and Hara are depicted in one statue. In Kutralam, Agastya has turned a statue of Vishnu into a Shivalinga. These places are all rather well known. Let me talk about a station not so well known. there is a small village by the name of Tirupparakkadal. It is located on the Kanchipuram Velur road, 20 miles from Kanchipuram. It seems that in that place there was no temple for Vishnu, only Shiva temples were there. One day, a devotee of Vishnu visited that place. He had made a vow to fast every day till having been to a Vishnu temple. At Tirupparkadal, looking for Perumal's darshan, he went to each temple. Finally, he was exhausted and disappointed that there was only Shiva in them all. He was very hungry. More than the hunger, he was very angry that he could not have the darshan of his favorite Vishnu. At that time, an old man came in front of him and asked him, "Hi, how about going into that temple of Vishnu?" He replied angrily, "Where is the Vishnu temple in this wretched place?" The old man said, "There, what you see is a Vishnu temple only." Only a few minutes previously, he had come out of the temple in disgust. So, this devotee of Vishnu was rather irritated by this old man's pranks. He said, "Oh, come on, yar. Why are you bluffing? I have been there only a few minutes back. It is a temple of Shiva." In no time, this conversation became a heated argument in which both the parties were accusing the other of lying, leading to a fisticuff. Soon there was a gathering of onlookers who tried to pacify the situation. "Why should either of you be fighting like this? Why not both of you go and see for yourself?" they said. The Vishnu devotee flatly refused to enter the temple. The old man was equally insistent that he will be last one to accept defeat. He was acutely stung to the core at being called a liar. He was ready to go to any court of law to prove that it was a Vishnu temple only. So finally, all of them went inside the temple, and lo, what did they see? In truth, from a distance, it looked like a Shivalingam. In the lower part of the statue, there was the Brahma Pitam, then the Avadiyar. Then insisted of the Linga, there was Mahavishnu instead of the Linga, there was Mahavishnu standing. Above the Avadiyar, in place of Linga, was Vishnu. The Vishnu devotee was smitten and remorse that he had misunderstood. He turned to the old man to apologize. The old man was not to be seen anywhere. Perumal himself had come as the old man. If you go to Tirupparkadal, even today, we can see this. There is the Avadiyar. Above that, in place of the normal Linga, we will see a standing Vishnu. This kshetra symbolically reminds us that Shiva and Vishnu are not different. They are one and the same. The differentiation is not in their being, but in our understanding. Two kings. Mahavishnu is handing over Meenakshi to Sundareshwara in marriage. This has been displayed in sculpture very beautifully in Madurai. Ambal is depicted as the sister of Padmanabha and consort of Parameshwara. To make it clear to our minds and heart the futility of differentiating between Shiva and Vishnu and Shaiva and Vaishnava followers. All the power is in Brahman. By that power only, all universal activities take place. Brahman is Parameshwaran. The power is Shakti or Ambal. The brother of Ambal is the CEO of the world that he managed. All that differentiation is for our understanding and not in their being. Brahman's power and its application cannot be different. Among many gods, these three are the Ratnatrayam or the trio of gems, says Appaya Dikshadar. As they say the Holy Trinity in Christianity, this is the Holy Trinity in Hinduism made up of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Even if you say that the peaceful, inactive Brahman is Shiva and the dynamic executive is Vishnu, such a statement will be acceptable only partially. As though to emphasize this point, we note that there are two kings. One king is Rangaraja and the other is Nataraja. For Vaishnavas, temple or Koil is only the Sri Rangam temple. Similarly, for Shaivas, the Chidambaram Nataraja temple is the only Kovil. Both Rangaraja and Nataraja are standing facing the south, squarely looking at Yama as though to get rid of the fear of death from the minds of the devotees. Rangam means arena or sabha, a place of activity. So also the Nataraja temple known as the Sabai and Nataraja is known as the Sabhapati. Among the two sabhas is one Nataraja is doing Nritya or the cosmic dance, in the other Jagat Paripalaka or the CEO sleeping very peacefully. This is completely contrary to what we understand as the roles of Shiva and Vishnu to be. Whenever we think of the functions of God as three or five or eight, all that is for our limited understanding only. We should not think of God as being divided into so many parts. This is what these two Rajas, Sabhapati and Ranganatha, indicating to us. They are both acting as though they are doing each other's jobs. The chief executive, supposed to be most active and dynamic, is sleeping, and the terminator, who is supposed to absorb the entire universe back into his self, is doing the cosmic dance. There is one more south facing god, that is Dakshinamurti. He is completely silent, peaceful, and quiet. He is of the shape of God essence. His chit aware being is the Ambal or Shakti. It is this Satchit Anandam that has become the 33 crore gods. All the life forms animate as birds, animals, creatures, plants, germs, and human beings. All the matter inanimate as mountain, rivers, oceans, lakes, ravines, stars, planets, sun, and the moon. We in India, who are endowed with this traditional understanding, should have it etched in our memories eternally. Shiva and Vishnu are total. Another form of Ambal Shakti is Vishnu. We are to understand that they are not to be thought of as different entities. The inner power of all that moves is Shakti. Without her blessings, we are dead bodies. Even thought processes are due to her power. There is no logic in thinking that any of this is our capabilities. Let us come to understand that we are but an infinitesimal subfraction of that. Without a trace of pride, let us feel that despite all that, we are still a part of her, a part and not a part. To feel so, to know this to be, is the most important merit of human qualities. Gratitude, this is puja or obeisance. This is the ritual bath that removes the dirt of pride and cleanses our hearts and soul. Who is God? Shankara Bhagavat Padar's reply: Parameshwara and Sriman Narayana are one and not two. Name, form, shape, and work are all separate, but they are made up of one and the same stuff. When I say stuff, do not think of some material. In the essence of their being, they are one and the same. Sri Shankara Bhagavat Padar confirmed opinion is this. He has authored two treatises called Prashnottara Ratna Malika, meaning garland of gems of questions and answers. Prashna means the question, Uttara is the reply. He has stung the most important questions and their answers as though in a garland. The treatise is his blessings to the far advanced among the seekers. One of the question is, who is God? The reply, Shankara Narayana Atma Eka, meaning the one Atma known as Shankara and Narayana. This reply is a clear pointer that in his mind there is no differentiation between Shiva and Vishnu. In this attitude, all the followers of Shankaracharya, known as Marthas, start any and every activity Parameshwara Prityartham and end it with Krishnarpanam. That is, they start the activity for the satisfaction of Shiva and the end it is an offering to Vishnu. How can you start an activity for the satisfaction of one and offer it to another? This is only possible when both are the same. If you ask the hardcore Vaishnavas, they will say only Vishnu is God. Shiva is like any other life form. If you ask Veera Shaiva, they will say only Shiva is the first complete God. Vishnu is only another life form. However, it is interesting to note that both the parties hold the view that their respective gods is also indwelling in all the life forms. Even if we take their words on face value, Shiva is indwelling in Vishnu as per the Shaivites, and Vishnu is indwelling in Shiva as per the Vaishnavites. So, anyhow, Shiva has to pray to the indwelling Vishnu, and Vishnu has to pray to the indwelling Shiva, and we all may as well pray to both as one. If we stand apart without taking any sides, we can and should listen to the centrists such as Kalidasa and Bana. They are quite clear that it is one seen as many goals. Kalidasa says there is only one truth seen and known as three. They are not to be assessed as higher or lower. They are equal. To quote him, Ekaiva Murti, Bibite Tridasa, Samyanamesham, Prathama Varatvam. Bana says the same thing. I pray to prostrate to the one who with Rajoguna creates the universe as Brahma, takes care of the universe with Sattva-guna as Vishnu, and reabsorbs with Tamoguna as Shiva. That one without birth or death, I bow myself to. What these two poets say, without any pride or partialism, about Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva is equally applicable to all gods. The great souls who speak from the peak of their experiences, though having a particular god as their personal preference, have identified that the so called others are the same. Appaya Dikshadhar says, though there is no difference between Maheshwara and Janardhana, my mind somehow is easily absorbed in Shiva, who is adorned by the crescent moon. Leela Sugar says in Krishna Karnamritam, I am a Shaivite only. I do chant the 5-lettered mantra of Om Namah Shivaya. But what to do? My mind is somehow totally absorbed in Gopika Ramana. You can have your Ishtadevata, but since you know that your God is all and everything, we are not to decry others' God. There is no scope for hatred in this. Either way, they say that Shiva is a devotee of Vishnu or vice versa. They do not say that they are enemies of each other. In one Purana, Shiva prostrates in front of Vishnu, and in another, Vishnu does that to Shiva. By doing so, they have not demeaned themselves. They are telling us to be respectful to each other. God comes in so many forms for the individual preferences. Even if we do not consider the other as God, they should get the respect of ours as another devotee at the least. Vaishnavas hold the view that Bhagavataras Bhagavatars, meaning devotees of Vishnu, should be revered as incarnations of God. Similarly, Shaivites believe that devotees of Shiva are to be treasured as Adhyark Adiyan, meaning that we should consider ourselves to be a devotee of the devotees. In the Prashnottara Ratnamalika quoted earlier, another question is, who is the greatest or foremost of gods? In answer, Acharya says, Chit Shakti, that is the supreme awareness or the super consciousness. That is the one word for all gods put together. That is Jnanambikai. Let her blessing may down on us to remove all separateness from our minds. The greatness of Vibhuti and Tiruman. As fire turns wood into ashes, awareness of Jnana turns all actions into ashes, says Sri Krishna to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. The Vibhuti ashes are thus indicative of the end residue of incinerated actions. The Sanskrit dictionary Amarakosham says that Vibhuti and Aishwaryam have the same meaning. In another way of looking at it, all the wealth of the world is only ashes. Any matter to which heat is applied, it first becomes black, then, on further heating, it becomes ashes that are white. That is the end stage when all the dross has been removed. That is Vibhuti or Niru or Bhasmam. Ishvara is the end product after all the matters of the world is burnt off. He is the eternal, indestructible remainder after everything is reduced to ashes. Just a stage earlier is coal. In today's world, it is the coal and petroleum products which are all the wealth. That is Aishwarya. Coal is called the most valuable black diamond too. But in our understanding, there is nothing more valuable than the ashes, white, that is Vibhuti. We see things of different colors, but all the colors are gone on being burnt. Finally, the end result is a white. Color is makeup. Reality is colorless. Vibhuti is truth. After all makeup is gone. In Tamil, the human body is known as Mei, which is also a word for truth. Vibhuti should be smeared all over the Mei. Even after this body is burnt, remainder Mei will be Vibhuti. When Sri Krishna says in Gita that after the fire of Jnana is lit, all karma will become bhasmam, he does not mean the shunyata of Buddha. When all the firewood is burnt, remainder is not nothingness but ashes. Similarly, when all the actions are burnt off and the end of creation, sustenance and destruction, remainder Mahabhasma is Parama Atma. In Tiruttonda Thogai, Sundaramurti Naranar says, Mudu Neeru Pusiya Munivarkum Adiyen, meaning that he is beholden to all Shiva devotees who have smeared the ashes all over their bodies. Vibhuti should be smeared all over the body. Though through that simple process, one can attain to all the wealth of this universe. Many people do that. The common folk in the far south call it Tunnuru. It can save you from real and imaginary evil as well as from delusion. Vaishnavas wear Thiruman. The soil from under the Tulasi plant is Thiruman. The clay from the river bank of Yamuna or Kaveri is Thiruman. This practice is also very similar to wearing of vibhuti. The king and learned, the pauper and the idiot all come to same end, a handful of ashes or back to earth. This life is elusive. From dust, ashes, earth to dust, ashes, earth is the span of life of all living and non living, animate and inanimate. Scientists today confirm that this whole universe has come into being from the cosmic dust. That is the end principle for us too. We wear the ashes or thiruman to keep this truth constantly in mind. In Sri Rangam, when Mrit Sangrahanam is done, that is, when the dead body is consigned to the fire, they use the earth from under the Bilva tree. Bilva is the abode of goddess Lakshmi. So is the cow an abode of Lakshmi. When the cow dung is burned with Bilva wood, the ashes so obtained is the ideal. The Bhasma, Niru, Tiruman can attain you to God realization. As per the family traditions, we should wear Tiruniru Tiruman. Namam Potan or Namam Pettinaru has connotations of duping others, but the real meaning comes from the practice of chanting God's names while wearing Tiruniru Tiruman. While smearing the ashes all over the body, we are to chant Om Namah Shivaya. While wearing the Tiruman, we should be taking the 12 names of Mahavishnu, Keshava Narayana, Madhava Govinda, Vishnu Madhusudana, Trivikarma Vamana, Sridhara Rishikesha, Padmanabha and Damodara, and apply the Namam in 12 places in the body. Since we took the names of God while wearing it, Namam Poduvadu become a custom. The Namam or Vibhuti is a reminder of the truth of divinity or impermanence of existence. Great sayings of two youngsters, Parameshwara and Mahavishnu, are known by more than 1,000 names each. Still, during a discourse, so as to draw everyone's attention, or at the end of a ceremony, the speaker will say loudly, Nama Parvati Pataye, and all others will respond with Hara Hara Mahadeva. Alternatively, for a Sarvatra Govindanama Sankirtanam or Gopika Jivana Smaranam, the response would be Govinda, Govinda. I started thinking as to why, despite having many names such as Shiva, Rudra, and Nataraja, people should respond with Hara Hara. Similarly, despite having many names for Mahavishnu, why should people respond with Govinda, Govinda? What is the special significance of Hara and Govinda? Why should the crowd respond with these two names and not other names? Children's voice has a special power. The innocent expressions of children who have no guile are equal to the utterings of great sages and saints. If all children's voice has special power, the voice of divine children has even more validity and appeal. These Hara and Govinda are two such names which have the stamp of approval from two great kids. After some search, I stumbled on the fact that among many names of Ishvara, Hara and among many names of Vishnu, Govinda have been ordained to be appropriate for mass response and collective chanting. Who are those two children of divine power? One is Tirugyanu Sambandar. Because he was breastfed by Parvati herself, he is venerated as Subramanya. In Madurai, he had to compete with the Samanas, Punalvadam and Kanalvadam, were to be the basis of assessing the validity of each other's Siddhantam or principled stand. As per Punalvadam, both the contestants should write their argument on palm leaf and place it in the Vaigai river. Those days, evidently, the Vaigai was a flowing river. Whichever palm leaf was washed away, that would be considered as lost. As per Kanalvadam, the palm leaf from both the opposing sides were to be put in fire. Samana palm leaf was washed away by the floods of Vaigai and burnt to ashes in fire. Samandar's palm leaf swam against the current and remained untouched by the fire. What did Tirugyanu Sambandar write in his palm leaf? What was the logic that could make the palm leaf withstand the floods of Vaigai river in Punalvadam and was untouched by the fire in Kanalvadam? What is the Siddhantam that could defeat the Samana's principled stand? This is what he wrote. The Tamil original is given below. வாழ்க அந்தணர் வானவர் ஆனினம் வீழ்க தன்புனல் வேந்தனும் ஓங்குக ஆழ்க தீபதெலாம் அரண் நாமமே சூழ்க வையகமும் துயர் தீர்க்கவே. Long live Brahmins, celestials and cows. Let there be rains, let the king's reign thrive. Let evil go down, name of Hara. Surround the would be rid of sorrows. Carefully study the meaning. He says in the last line, let the world be rid of all sorrows. When you say in Tamil, Vayagamum Tuyar Tirkave, you are expressing the noblest of sentiments and best wishes towards the whole universe expressed 5,000 years back by the great rishis and saints of India who said, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu. How is this to be achieved? He first says, long live Brahmins, celestials and cows. Vanavar are celestials. They need to be nourished by yaga, which is done by Brahmins with the help of provisions from the cows, such as milk, ghee and dried cow dung cakes, all used in yagnas, so that the celestials may be looked after and nourished, who in turn will shower their blessings through the rains and so virga the tanpunal. When the land is so productive, rule of law will thrive and so Vendanum onguga, when the king reign in thriving, antisocial elements will perish, and so he says, Araga Thiyadalam. Now comes Aran Namame Shuraga. Let the atmosphere be surrounded by the sounds of Hara Hara, says that child of divine prescience, Tirugyana Sambandar. It is this direction given by Sambandar that till date when somebody says Nama Parvati Pate, that sounds of Hara Hara Mahadeva envelops all the directions of the compass and the atmosphere. We all join to say at the top of our voice, Arohara, Annamalaika Harohara, Annamalaika Harohara, Dandaya the Panika Harohara, and Hara Harohara. Who is that divine child which directed us to chant the name of Govinda? He is our Bhagavad Pada Sri Shankaracharya. At the age of 8, he took sannyasa from the Govinda Bhagavad Pada. So the name of his Guru Govinda had special attraction for him. Then Govinda is the Jagat Guru Krishna, the Gita Charya. When he was in Kashi, that is Varanasi, one day he came across an old Pandit who was still mugging by heart some grammar instead of thinking of God. The young Shankara's heart was melting at the plight of the old man. He thought, what is the use of such knowledge of grammar? Should he not be happily chanting the name of Govinda? Keeping that Pandit in the foreground, Shankara addresses the whole of mankind and says, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, Samprapte Sanhite Kale, Nahi Rakshati Dukring Grahane. Chant the name of Govinda. After all is said and done, as the end approaches, committing grammar to memory will not save you. It is the order of these two divine children, Tirugyana Sambandar and Sri Shankaracharya, that till date we respond to Nama Parvati Pataye with Hara Hara Mahadeva and respond to Gopika Jivana Smaranam with Govinda Govinda. Om Shri Mahaperiva Sharanam.